Hey. All right. You're listening to the Dead Man's Tone podcast. All right. I'm your host, Mr. Deadman. And tonight's not sponsor is a little something that's going to make your breath smell heavenly fresh. Heavenly fresh. What do we got here? Well, I'm talking about believe in God instantly. If you have that coffee breath, your breath smells like cigarettes, you've been smoking, use this. No. Other sprays, they make your breath smell minty and fresh, right? This makes it smell like, divine intervention took place. And, God just came in there and fresh into your breath. You can't have the voice of God, but you can have the breath of God, right? That's pretty close. That's pretty good. So get this. This is a real product, by the way. You can get it on Amazon. 5-star reviewed. So check that out. Anyway, tonight we're talking about the Mad Doctor of Blood Island. This is a great movie. I can't say that with a straight face. Okay. Does this movie pass the Joe Bob Briggs 3B review? It actually kind of does. It actually does, and it does. It passes. It passes very well. But is it a good movie? Well, it's cheesy. It's a 1969 exploitation film. Part of the Filipino exploitation films. Okay? So, if you like that sort of thing, you're going to like this movie. If you don't like that sort of thing, well, why would you even watch it, right? The directors, Gerardo de Leon. I don't know what he's done. And also Eddie Romero. Not to be confused with George Romero, although Eddie Romero didn't have zombies in this film, apparently. They called them zombies, though they never really referred to them as zombies in a way. They're just green, and they stumble around, and they're not really threatening, except for one of them is. And we'll get into that. This movie's cast isn't all that bad. You have Josh Ashley, who was in some beach movies. When I say beach movies, he was in Beach Blanket Bingo, Bikini Beach, Muscle Beach Party, things like that. Beach Party, okay. But then you also have Angelique Pettyjohn, okay. If you are a Trekkie, if you're a Star Trek fan, you might know who she is. If you like 60s vintage porn, you might know who she is. So, yeah. If you like, if you like gore, if you like blood, if you want to see bodies, and you want to see breasts, this film delivers on all that, okay? What it really fails in, of course, as you could probably imagine, the story is just, what's going on? Why are these characters doing what they're doing? Some of these characters are so pointless, you could actually just delete them all out, and it doesn't change anything except for the fact that you'd miss out on some tits, okay? That's the only thing you'd miss out on. But let's get into this. Let's get in the thick of this film here. Okay. All right, we'll pull some images real fast. All right. Okay, so when the film starts off, we're on a boat. We're on a boat with what appears to be going to be 3 of our main characters. Now, one of the issues I have with this film is who is actually the main character? That's a riddle. That's a problem here. And in this scene here, we have our Sheila Willard, who's played by Angelique Pettyjohn. Okay, stunning, beautiful. Okay, you'd think she would be the protagonist in the story. After all, she's the one who's doing most of the talking. She reveals that why she's going to Blood Island, because she's looking for her dad. Her mom passed away, and she hasn't heard from her dad for some time. There's some letters or something. And then she wants to go look for her dad. Okay. Okay, I could follow that a little bit. What about the guy in the suit? For those listening on the podcast, pretty good looking suit, I guess. Anyway, that's Dr. Forrester. Dr. Forrester. Why is he here? What's he doing? Honestly, I couldn't tell you. I think he's just going to the island just because he's supposed to go there. But whatever. He's there for the ride. He's talking to Sheila. Okay. Then we get this other guy, Carlos Lopez, who wants to convince his mom. The reason why he's going to Blood Island, the reason why he's going to the island is because he wants to convince his mom that she needs to come back to him, to the mainland, to the U.S. Oh, pause. I need to go back. This movie opens up with tits. Okay, this movie opens up. At first, you get the sequence of these college kids drinking this weird green fluid stuff, okay? Which, by the way, the reason why that's in there is because apparently when this movie was in theaters, some theaters actually got like this green liquid gel stuff that they would tell, moviegoers, theater goers to drink. Now, the director tried one, and he said it made him sick. But apparently teenagers in various theaters in the U.S. were drinking that stuff because it was cool. So, yeah. After that, we were treated to a scene of a naked Filipino woman running through a forest, full naked. I mean, if you like that sort of thing, you're going to enjoy this. Plenty of breasts, plenty of ass. It is great eye candy. And she's mauled immediately. So right there, in the first 5 minutes of the film, you get blood, boobs, and bodies. Okay. Then we go to our boat scene. Let's talk about Carlos some more. Carlos Lopez. I think I might have an image of him here. Let's see. I think this one will do just fine. Carlos Lopez. So yeah, he wants to go to the island, to Blood Island, to save his mom, to bring her back to the U.S., I suppose. But I kind of question where he comes from because it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. We'll get into that. Then the captain, who's probably like the best character in this film because he has like one, the least amount of time. Two, he acts like he doesn't give a shit about anything, which is fine. Which I think relates to most of the people watching the film. Like, okay, that's kind of how I feel about this whole thing. The captain, man. The captain warns him, oh yeah, you're going to that place, Blood Island? Okay, yeah, you're going to need to force your mom to get back on the boat, to leave. Because it's horrible, this place is cursed, there's, dead bodies, things happen there. Oh, and you're going there. So this whole time they're on the boat, the captain could have told Carlos this before he got on the boat, before they're heading to Blood Island. He's just now telling Carlos, oh yeah, by the way, the place you're going to is cursed, there's some dead bodies, things have happened there. Well, by the way, there's the place you're going to, it's called Blood Island, get off my fucking boat. That's kind of what he says, more or less. There's literally a scene where he's like, hey, you guys, you're here, get off. Like he doesn't care. He doesn't care, which is great. And he's like, he delivers his lines like he just give a shit. He just woke up, took a check, walked on set, took a check, and it's like, okay, I'm done with this. I like that. Then we got Sheila's father. So Sheila is going to the island to find her father, right? But who's Sheila's father? Well, when we finally see him, he's like drunk or something. He's like all sweaty in what looks like some sort of bar. It's horrible. Like he gets up, he stumbles onto the beach, he passes out like he's on some sort of like he's been on some sort of binge on like opiates and liquor. It's so sloppy. That's her dad. That's who she's looking for. You know? Amazing. Amazing. Yeah, so Carlos goes to find his mom. When he finds his mom, there's a scene where Carlos is talking to his mom, and I swear the interaction is really bizarre. It really leaves you wondering, like, what is the relationship here? Finds his mom, and she describes Carlos as like this handsome man. You're such a handsome man now. That's perfectly normal, right? But then he's like, "Mom, I'm here. I'm like a prince trying to rescue the princess. You know, I want to bring you home with me." It's like, that's kind of weird. Like, there's some like weird incest vibes going on here. Like the way he's talking about his mom, I'm looking at her, is like he longs for her. It's weird. And then this chick, then we have Dr. Loca. Dr. Lorca comes in, which, by the way, probably the best performance is by that guy, Dr. Lorca. He comes in, he says something about one of his patients has escaped. And at this point in the film, you're probably thinking, well, that could be Mr. Willard. I mean, Mr. Willard could be the drunk that just stumbles all over the place, or maybe he's one of the patients who got out. We don't know. Maybe it was the green guy that killed the Filipino chick in the beginning of the movie. We don't really know. Maybe. I don't know. By the time, you kind of forgot all about this because it's so kind of bland. But whatever. And then Carlos' mom acts like she says she's not acting well or not feeling well lately, which is something that doesn't do anything. The movie forgets about the mom not feeling well. Okay. Then it's like all these characters are introduced, and I swear nothing really happens with them. Then you have this character named Marla, a woman who looks younger than Carlos, but apparently was like a childhood friend of some sort. And when they interact, he's all like, you know, I remember you. It's been a long time, and we used to spend a lot of time together. And she immediately comes on to him saying like, oh yeah, now I'm going to come on to you, and maybe I could spend time with you as in your adulthood. Like instantly. No hinting, no beating around the bush, instantly comes on to him. Okay. Now, Mr. Willard, by this point in the film, disappeared, right? Well, Mr. Willard disappeared. That's why Sheila's going there. And finally, when they meet, when Sheila and her dad, Mr. Willard, finally meet, they talk about how they haven't communicated for some time, but like, oh, God, there's some letters. I have stopped receiving the letters. This is important, right? We have one character who's talking about letters. This is going to be important. We'll come on later on. And then Dr. Foster mentions how he's a government agent. He works for a secret government department that you've never heard of. So we don't know what this is. He's like a government man living in the government building. For what reason? I don't know. I guess to study something. To study some weird, bizarre thing, I guess. Okay. Which, by the way, Mr. Willard, who we thought was the drunk, maybe could be a drunk, maybe using opiates or something. Once again, it's like, you know, I'm not feeling well, but can I have a drink? It's like, sure, go ahead and have a drink. So, I mean, it's like, what? But the worst part, I think, the worst thing about this film is these zoom in and zoom out effects, this is going to be the first time you see it. Up until this point, the cinematography has been okay. There's some really cheesy shots, some cheese factor here, but every now and then there's a good view of like a waterfall or something kind of cool to kind of set it off. But this is bad. Like, have some Advil on hand for the migraine you're gonna experience, because this is awful. It zooms in and out as a Filipino Mr. Clean and Dr. Lorca go looking for something. What they're looking for, we don't really know. They're hunting for something. Sheila wakes up in this next scene to hear what sounds like a man moaning from behind the front door. Like, it sounds sexual. It sounds really gross and sexual. She goes to the window. There's this green Filipino man right there, half naked. just there moaning and freaking her out, and all of a sudden you have our Dr. Foster go run out there with a gun. You know, he's shirtless. He looks fit. He looks pretty good, right? Like he kicks some ass. Next scene happens. It's like nothing happened. Nothing happened. Next scene is literally the same place, the house, the government house. Same characters. You have Sheila. You have Dr. Foster. You have Mr. Willard, her dad. And what are they talking about? Are they talking about the strange green thing they saw? No. Are they talking about the weird, I don't know, break-in or what was happening? No. No one mentions anything of that. What they're doing instead, as Sheila's having a conversation with her dad, that is, well, it kind of defeats the whole purpose of going there, right? You think about it. She hasn't talked to her dad in years. She finally goes to Blood Island to find her dad. And what does her dad do? Dumps her, turns her down. She invites her dad to breakfast, or for breakfast. What does the dad do? No. I'm going to be on my own. It's like, what? What is this? Why? And by the way, Sheila's delivery of dialogue and mannerisms at this point in the film kind of remind me of Lily Alderman from How I Met Your Mother in a way. I don't know why. It's just her little quirks and the way she delivers her lines. It's kind of interesting. Anyway, so her dad ditched her, right? Her dad she hadn't seen in years. He comes to the island for him. But you know what he wants? He wants some booze time. He wants to go off on his own. But she follows him. She follows him dressed in what appears to be like another nightgown. She changes from a nightgown to something else, like it possibly passes a nightgown. I don't really know what it is, but it's not something you wear when you want to take your dad out for a breakfast. For breakfast. We then get another nice view of a naked woman. This time it's Carlos' estranged girlfriend, Marla. She's there. She's by the waterfall, and she gets naked. She goes diving and swimming. It's a beautiful and tasteful. Okay, at least it would be if it wasn't for Mr. Willard, who ditched the breakfast invite with his daughter. Instead, he wants to go sweat out in the forest to watch like a perv Marla swimming in the water. I swear, he looks like he's looking creepily at her, like he's like some sort of Weinstein or something. And Sheila is still following her dad, still dressed the same, no shoes or anything, walking through the forest. I'm sure that's not painful. Has some sort of heat stroke, and then gets attacked. She gets attacked by like the green guy, the green monster thing. Gets attacked by the green monster thing. So then we have our second body down. Okay. Is it her? No. This native guy goes to defend her, to save her, and he's killed. But the green guy leaves Sheila alone because Sheila runs away. But she's not really running. She's like stammering. She's like just trying to like barely getting out of the way, right? She's like has a heat stroke or something. She's like, oh, tired. Oh. It's bad. It's real bad. Yeah, at this point, the village, for some reason, is all looking for her. I mean, she's been gone for like 5 minutes, it seems like, but now they're all looking for her. Now her dad is suddenly interested. Oh, everyone's calling Sheila's name. Why are they calling Sheila's name? Oh, you mean my daughter that invited me for breakfast, and I said no, so I could go check out this naked chick? Oh yeah, now I'm interested. Which, by the way, her dad looks like Mr. High Pants. Mr. High Pants, polo shirt, walking around in a forest, sweating his ass off. For what reason? I honestly couldn't tell you. I don't know. And like, there's not. I have no idea why he's there. Now, if I played a game with you, going back to the boat scene, who is the main character in this movie? Who is the actual protagonist? Who's the supporting cast? Right? You have Dr. Foster, you have Sheila, and you have Carlos. Sheila wants to go to the island to find her dad. She finds her dad. Nothing happens with it. Her dad survives to the end. Her dad never is in any trouble. There's no problems there. Okay. In fact, her dad turns her down. Okay. But yet somehow her dad makes it all the way to the end. He does nothing. He's a pointless character. So she can't really be the hero, right? She's not really doing anything. Then you have Carlos. Carlos is there trying to go get his mom and bring her back. Except he tries to talk to his mom about going back, but she refuses. She wants to stay on the island because what? Because the island offers nothing but death. Apparently. Apparently that's why. That's why she wants to stay on the island. I guess. I mean, what can I tell you? That's what she said. Okay? Carlos. So Carlos's mom doesn't want to go back with him. But what else does Carlos find out? Well, Carlos has a dad, right? And Carlos's dad was on the island. Okay. And that's kind of implied. It's not really said. But then later on it comes out in the dialogue when he's talking with Marla. I'm sorry, actually when Carlos and Marla are talking together, Marla's actually hitting on Carlos again. Like in his like blatant, like getting on him, her hands are on him. It's like, I want to bang you right here, right now, more or less. Then Dr. Lorca comes in, cock blocks the whole thing, ruins the whole thing. And then Carlos goes away, and then it's revealed that through that dialogue that Marla knows, Dr. Lorca killed Carlos's dad with an experiment. Marla knows this. Marla was 14 when she banged Carlos's dad, which means Carlos's dad had an affair with a 14-year-old, which I guess in the Philippines would be A-OK. I don't know what the age of consent is over there, but okay. But so many questions because Carlos's mom and Marla and the doctor appear to be living in the same house. How does this make... What's going on here? Like, how does it happen? There's no way Carlos's mom didn't know that Marla was banging her husband, right? There's just no way. And if Marla doesn't like the doctor and wants to kill the doctor or has feelings about him, why is she waiting so long? And what's the deal with Carlos? Why is Marla all smitten with Carlos? Well, I'll tell you. No good reason. No good reason other than to have another nice nude scene. That's it. That's really it. There's a scene after they have like this on the island, they have like this fertility ritual, which you have a scene with a bunch of Filipino men and women grinding and moving around in provocative ways. And then you have an animal sacrifice using what appears to be real animals. Afterwards, I think around this time, that's when... I think maybe a little bit later. But anyway, you have Marla who comes into Carlos's room. And what does she do? Carlos is laying on the bed. Marla comes in, takes the flower out of her hair, undresses. Carlos is just laying there, stiff, like he doesn't know what to do, like he's some sort of incel and doesn't know what to do, some sort of virgin. Marla goes to him, is on him. They finally embrace. We go to another scene that lasts for less than a minute. So get this. Marla and Carlos are having a sex scene. It just started. They start kissing and embracing. It goes away to some pointless scene of Filipino Mr. Clean and the doctor looking for something. I guess the green monster or something. Less than a minute. Go back to the sex scene. The sex is done. Carlos is on the bed and Marla's on the edge of the bed looking away from him. Like what? He's done. That's it. Like he's over with. he just started, Carlos. He just started. Marla is displeased, unsatisfied, walks away. Carlos is all emotional, like, where are you going? Where are you going? She's like, I'm done. I'm done with you. And it's like, I don't know if that was a line she was supposed to say or that was like a slip because that's it. She's done. She's done with him. That's it. No more. So what was the point of all that? Nothing. Just to bang him. That's it. That's it. Which is weird because their interaction, there's all this like very tense music to build it up as if it's going to be something impactful. There's some sort of tension between the characters. But there's no tension. It's just a fucking sex scene between two characters that will never do anything with one another again, except for the scene where Carlos, Dr. Foster, and Mr. Willard. Why the fuck is Mr. Willard still around? He's a waste of space. He's not doing shit at all. But they're breaking into Carlos's dad's grave to see whether or not he's still buried there. Because, wait, let me back up. Little things happen. Little things happen here and there. The second time Carlos speaks with his mom, he's by his dad's grave and is looking at his dad's grave. After the sex scene with Marla, he goes back to his dad's grave and is looking at his dad's grave and just then realizes the date of death. And then the camera does like the zoom in, zoom out thing on the date of death. He realizes something, which we have no idea what he's realizing, because up to this point, we didn't know why. We didn't really know much about his dad, or the significance of the date of death, or that his dad was sending him letters. Because after this, Carlos is in this room going through drawers and looking for something, I guess letters or something. We find out it's letters. Oh man, it's like, man, we have no idea what he's doing or why he's even doing it. So Carlos realizes, wait a second, I've been receiving these letters from my dad 3 months after he died. That's when they break into his dad's grave. What do they find? What do you think? Empty coffin. Carlos immediately is like, what does that mean? What do you think that means, Carlos? You're in a B horror movie. It means he's alive. It means he's the green monster that's walking around. Which, by the way, is not hard to lure the green monster. All you have to do is have sex in a field. There's a scene where these native couple, this dude and this chick, are banging, and another scene of nice tits, and then he just comes and he just kills them. He rips the limbs out of their sockets and stuff. The gore could be better, like the blood's poor quality, the effects are pretty bad, but you do get some limbs thrown around. You get some intestines, and you get the intestines later, but you do get some gore. That's kind of, it's all right. You get some dead bodies, and you get all right. It's all right. So this movie, man, it's horrible. The story doesn't make any. It's pointless. There's pointless characters. Because when they're busting into, when Carlos finds out that his dad's grave is empty, that's when Marla comes. That's the last time Marla actually interacts with Carlos. Because Marla comes down from the house and tries to get Carlos away from the grave, saying, "Oh no, you're gonna see something you don't want to see, whatever." But which is weird is that the green monster guy, who's Carlos's dad, was in the house with Marla, was in the house with her, but she didn't know. She couldn't smell him. I'm sure he would smell like decay, but didn't know. Okay, whatever. Which is weird because after Carlos finds out that the coffin is empty, he goes into the house because his mom is being attacked by the green monster guy, which turns out to be Carlos's dad. He kills his mom, Which another cool scene for gore. You have some intestines thrown here. What looks like a liver on the floor. Okay, probably real. Could have been an animal liver. I mean, they actually did have animals die on set. They used real animals on set. They could probably get away with it. It was 1969, and they shot this in the Philippines. You know, how they got away with some stuff in this film. Even the sex scene. According to Angelique Pettyjohn. According to her, there's a sex scene between her and John Ashley that was not simulated. It was real, which could have easily happened. I mean, from what I understand, Angelique had some porn experience. I mean, it's something that happens, right? It was 1969. They totally did it. Of course, I watched it. Did it look real? It seemed more convincing than these Hollywood sex scenes. So there's that. So hell, man, if you want to watch a movie exploitation film that has a real sex scene in it, this is one of them. Man, this movie. So many twists and turns, things that little mini narratives. It's like trying to do this is before Pulp Fiction. Like it's doing these mini stories with different characters, and they all have their important role, but it's really not important. It means nothing. They're meaningless. Because what you're gonna find out is, okay, so the doctor he has like this henchman who looks like a Filipino Mr. Clean. They're going around and they're trying to find like the green guys that are infected or whatever, like this patients that got out, and they're trying to kill them. They're trying to kill them because they don't want them to get too far, I guess, whatever. So there's a scene where the Filipino Mr. Clean kills like some guy just watching this green guy that's in the government's house and beheads someone. And then for some reason, I guess the natives think that that Dr. Foster did that stuff and he gets framed for it. I don't know, man. By this time of the film, I'm honestly tuning out. Like, what's going on? I'm just here at this point. I'm just here for the killing. I'm here for the slaying. I'm here for the views, and that's it. The story doesn't make any sense at all. But going back to the question about the boat, the question of who is the actual protagonist in this film? Who's the actual protagonist, the actual hero and mad doctor of Blood Island? Right? It's not Sheila. It's not Carlos. Because after Carlos tries to bring back his mom declines, right? His mom then dies at the hand of his dad. He doesn't kill his dad. He doesn't save his dad. In fact, Carlos ends up in a cage. After he finds his mom killed and it was attacked by the green monster. Carlos talks with the doctor because the doctor's there, and the doctor's like, "No, that wasn't a monster. That's your dad." It's like, "What? That's my dad?" Except it's not a big reveal because the big reveal had already happened. Because a few scenes way before this, 20 minutes before, the doctor guy and Marla had already told us, the viewers, that it's the dad, more or less. That the Dr. Lorca had an experiment with on the dad. Okay. Which did Dr. Lorca tells Carlos, "Yeah, I did this experiment on your dad. It didn't do too well, right? He first he did okay, but then he got involved with this 14-year-old native girl. They banged, and he got sick, and then he died." And Carlos reacts to this like all stiff, doesn't ask any questions, no reaction whatsoever. And then next thing you know, he's in a cage. Dr. Lorca goes from hopeful, explaining things to, "Yeah, I caged Carlos, and now I'm going to kill you, Dr. Foster, because you found my hidden lair. But let me tell you what I'm doing first." Let me tell you what I'm doing, why I'm doing it, and try to explain to you why I'm not mad. I'm not a mad scientist. I know you believe I am, but chlorophyll will help heal things. I don't know. He's doing some. I can't even begin to explain the research. It's B movie logic. I wasn't paying attention at that point. But pretty cool fight scene, I guess. Decent fight scene. I mean, you don't have the shaky cam that you do in modern days, like a modern film, right? In modern film, the action scenes, there's always shaky cam, so you can't see who's doing what. And Dr. Foster. Oh, which I need to back up real fast because I missed it. I skipped over a really good scene. Dr. Foster and Sheila definitely do bang, right? They bang. At one point, they have to escape out of the government house because the natives think he killed one of their own. He was framed for a murder, so he has to get Sheila and get out of there. Never mind the fact that Sheila could have explained to the natives, like, hey, like Dr. Foster wasn't even here. Like, I just woke up, I saw him beheaded, but Dr. Foster wasn't here. It was someone else, clearly. But never mind that. They run off. They bang. The sex scene is pretty good. Pretty good. Okay, it's all right. But then afterwards, they end up finding Dr. Lorca's lair. They have the talk. Dr. Lorca reveals everything, why he's doing it. Okay. Traditional mad scientist, evil mad scientist. Okay. They have a battle. They fight. Now you're probably thinking, okay, this Dr. Foster's our protagonist. He's the hero. He's it. Even though he doesn't really have a reason to be on this island, he's just here because I guess he's supposed to be. Like, all right. But the problem with that, there's someone else in the story that confronts the scientist who really kills him. And if you're going to have a hero's journey, if you're going to follow that sort of logic, that's storytelling, right? You're going to follow that. That's really going to be your protagonist. That's going to be the one who faced the challenge and confronted it and resolved it, right? Who was that in this story? Oddly enough, it was Marla. So Marla apparently doesn't like the doctor. Expressed that she doesn't like the doctor in some ways. But then when she finds out that Carlos's dad is still alive, and she realizes that Carlos's dad is the green monster thing, which she finds out because she finds the green monster thing, and immediately she's like, oh, I know who that is. That's Carlos's dad. We banged before when I was 14. What does Carlos's dad do as a monster? He like gets on his knees. He's like submitting to her. It's like, oh man, was she the dominant one in the relationship? Like, I don't know what sort of kinky stuff they were doing, but apparently she's the dom, right? Maybe he was getting pegged by this. You know what? But she is like, okay, now follow me, and she lures Carlos's dad to the evil scientist's lair to confront the scientist, Dr. Lorca, the person she's been living with, the person she's been staying with, and confronts them. Tries to do so, but Lorca slaps her around, and then Carlos's dad kills the scientist. So really, maybe the protagonist is actually Carlos's dad. The villain. He's not really the villain. He's all messed up. Man. It's so convoluted. It doesn't make... You could tell this so much better by getting rid of some characters outright, but you wouldn't have all the tits. You wouldn't have all the ass. And you know what? If you want to do an exploitation movie and do it right, I suppose you can't cut out on the boobs. You can't cut out on the breasts. You got to keep the breasts, got to keep the blood, got to keep the bodies. Okay. Then make their stories make sense. I mean, honestly, Sheila's story is so pathetic. Why did she have to go find her dad? Her dad didn't even want to be found. Her dad was like this drunk, didn't care. I couldn't even tell you. And Carlos, but yeah, I mean, would I recommend this movie? Would I recommend Mad Doctor of Blood Island? Like I said in the beginning, if you like these exploitation films, if you like these B movies, sure, watch it. But keep a bottle of Advil on hand. Keep some ibuprofen because you're going to get some headaches. The zoom in, zoom out is the worst thing about this film. God, the zoom in, zoom out really kills this film. It's not the convoluted story. It's not the meaningless characters, because at least they will show you some tits. They will show you some skin, right? If you make it to where your killing scenes are totally unwatchable, it hurts your movie, right? And that's what happened here. But yeah, that's all I have here for the Mad Doctor of Blood Island. I don't know if you have any questions in the chat or anything. And if you have a movie you would like me to review, I might. Apparently, this is a trilogy. This is a series. I didn't know this going in. This is actually a sequel. I'm gonna watch them all. I think I'm gonna do them all. I'm cover it all. Because why not? Why not? What they would talk about though, while I still have some time, is I put a question out there on the Dead Man's Tome Facebook page about just food for thought. Really, it's a thought experiment. Okay. All right. So Beetlejuice 2, they've been making rumors about that. I don't know if that's really gonna be a real thing. Is that gonna be a real thing? I hope it's not. I hope Beetlejuice 2 is not a real thing. But the question I pose there is, if you were tasked with making Beetlejuice 2 and you had to do it and had every resource you could think of, how would you do it? So you have to do this for some reason. Maybe it's because they offered you something you couldn't refuse. Maybe it's because your family's at stake. I don't know, but you have to do it. And you have every resource you have. You can write it any way you want, use any characters, any actors, any effects, anything you want. How would you do it? You know, it's been so long since the first one. So the question you have to ask is, who's the demographic for this film? It's been so long since the first one. But the audience, the fans of the first one, are still alive, and they still enjoy Beetlejuice. So that's your demographic. That's who you have to aim for. Anyone else who goes see it, if they like it, they like it. Maybe you can win both. But don't fuck with the core. You gotta have Michael Keaton. You gotta have Winona Ryder. Those are two things you're gonna have to have. You're gonna have to keep Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice. Don't turn him black. Don't turn him to a woman. Okay? Keep Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice. Let's go ahead and not have any of the sort of divisive SJW stuff in there. No. Keep Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice. All right? He was a ladies' man then. He's a ladies' man now. He's not going gay. Okay? He's Beetlejuice. Start with that. I don't know what could happen. I guess Winona Ryder's character has known Beetlejuice for some time. You know what? Look at the cartoon. If you want something to build off of. You know, that continued the series. And had some fun with it. But I think whatever happens, it would be better than the actual script that was leaked, where Beetlejuice went to Hawaii and it was surfing, doing a surfing contest. That's real. That's real. That's what was supposed to happen. All right. Well, I think I'll wrap up the stream here. Wrap up the show here. Thank you all so much for watching and listening. If you enjoy these sort of movie reviews, let me know what you think about it, or what movie you would like me to review. And y'all take it easy. You have a good one.